broadcast live.
All of my combos are communicating.
Hi everybody, welcome to the very first red couch of 2019. It's an absolute honor to be back here. God knows what can happen between the space, the camera is off and it comes back on. So my first guy, the one that makes the things, the one that makes the pods to come out is DJ Speedsta.
Yeah, what's up?
How you doing, bro?
Good, and you?
It's good to see you, finally.
Nice to see you. The last time we spoke, you were still on UJFM, remember?
Yeah. He was, yeah.
Thank you for having me, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Poppin'?
Thank you for coming to my next platform. You know,
Nice.
I think it's so dope.
I see
to
you
like
done come
see-
up. You in the north. Ilovo, baby.
What are you talking about? You're on SABC1, boo. What's
Hey,
going
that's the
on?
dust. I'm fully in the dust now. I'm fully in the dust
Man,
now.
let's talk about it, man. I mean, going from that guy that was lying to his parents about sleeping over at a friend's house to study to being that guy. And we got the story because of your album.
Yeah.
Why did it switch from an EP to an album?
Why did it switch from an EP to an album? Because I felt like the music that I had done on the EP is literally music I started working on when I got signed to Sony, which was August 2016, you know. And at the time I'd signed a 2-single deal and an EP, but the EP didn't have a duration and there was no time limit, so it was like work on it and then you'll release it. So as time went by, I was like, because I'm working on this thing for so long, I might as well call it an album. But then by the time I put everything together, I was like, there's a lot of things that I would like to have in if I'm going to be doing an album. There's a lot of people that I would like to work with if I'm going to be having a debut album and so forth. So the label was like, okay, cool, that's fine. I mean, luckily we're in the beginning of the year. Drop the EP, let people have something while they wait for the album. So that's why I decided to call it a EP and no longer a album. I'm working on the album. The album is coming in May on my birthday.
Yeah. Okay, so it's no longer, because it was an EP, then it was an album, but now it's not an album anymore.
It's just an EP, yeah.
Just an EP.
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with the fact that 5 tracks on the project are...
Yes,
Yeah, because
exactly.
like, you ain't finna give us an album with tracks that we know, though.
Exactly, so
Yeah.
that's why I say, because when I signed to Sony in 2016, the very first song off the EP was Mayo.
Yeah.
You know, then I did all those songs over the past
So
2
essentially
years.
we're kind of late, like we're catching up to the whole
You catching
thing.
up to the whole thing, yeah. But it's
2
also
years later.
it's also just giving it like a body of work to be like, over the past 2 years, this is what Speedsta has done, you know. Yes, you've heard the singles as singles, but now you get to hear like the whole thing and, you know, to be like, oh, okay, this is the kind of direction, this is the kind of sound that works, that he does and so forth. So, relax, there is 5 brand new songs on the EP that you guys don't know, you know. So that's just basically me just saying, hold on to this while you wait for the album.
You're very quiet, someone who's very private. You're not someone that, you know, expresses a lot and shows their life a lot. But when you did speak about the project, it looked like it was harder than you imagined to put it together.
Yo, it was a nightmare.
Tell us about it.
It was just a nightmare. I think that the most difficult part of it was the A&R, you know. And for me, I mean, I had released 2 mixtapes long ago, you know. So I thought, I mean, I've done this before.
Yeah,
I know how to do this, you know.
Yeah.
But clearly, it proved to be really tough because you think, like, okay, we have grown more, so it's like then you're like, okay, I know I can't. Not everyone is accessible, you know. So you call people who you know can come through, you know. So growing as a brand, you think, I can call anybody and they're gonna come through, you know, and then it doesn't happen like that, you know. So you end up being frustrated, and that's how you'll find like I'll tweet and do that whole rant or whatever. But yeah, it's proved to be really difficult to put everything together. Now with the album, it's a little bit easier because I am working with a lot of new talent, you know, which are just ready to get in the studio. I'll give you an example. Like, I'm in studio right now every day recording an album, but every time, this week, just for instance, that we've been in the studio, we've made 7 songs, you know what I mean? So the difficult part is getting the people into studio, but once we're in, then I got the Bacardi for them, then, you know, we can set the vibe, and we can make the music. But yeah, it's been difficult, so that's why I'm also just trying to grow like my actual team, because for the longest of times I used to do things by myself, which I can't now anymore, you know. So yeah, trying to get more hands to help me out.
2 questions. So your affinity to work with young up and coming artists firstly, that's dope. You're kind of one of the forefront runners or leaders of making it okay for people to co-sign the kids, and shout out to you for that. But I mean, you mentioned that it was difficult to try and put the project together, and some people that you were thinking would come through are not coming through from your Twitter rant, which is like old news. But have you made peace with the people that you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've made peace with every single person. All those people are going to be on, like Teleman, we did a song on the EP,
Yeah.
we're recording again for the album. Frank, we're recording for the album. Shane, we're recording for the album. So yeah, it's done. We got over it. We've reconciled, and yeah, it's a new year. I don't like carrying bad energy, you know. Even outside of what I do, I'm a kind of person when I walk into the room, like I'm cool with everyone in the room, you know. I like to crack a joke, you know. So I don't like walking into a room and there's a bit of like tension and so forth. So yeah, it's sorted, it's done, learned from it, and we carry on. Yeah.
Having experienced two sides of the scale, working with established artists and then working with not so established artists, who do you have the biggest headache with when you're working with them? Because I imagine that with younger guys, there's so much that you have to teach them that they're not aware of. But perhaps even with the more established guys, is like they know what they're doing and they want to do it their way, and you can't really sway or guide them as you would with younger guys. I mean, which side of the scale do you think is a bit more challenging?
I think the younger guys is a bit more challenging because the older guys, like you said, because of the experience stuff, they know exactly what they want, you know. So even if you're sending like 5 different beats that you think are dope to the rapper, he'll tell you like, no, these are whack ass beats. Go back to the studio, you know. Whereas with the upcoming guy, because he's hungry, he'll jump on whatever, you know. So sometimes you have to guide and be like, that's not, maybe try say this, you know, maybe let's try use like different content, especially with the new guys. They love talking about like examples like, you know, popping Zannies and popping Marleys, you know, them hitting the coke lies or whatever, you know. Sometimes I gotta be like, yo man, you must remember we're making a song for me, man, and I'm not about that, because most of the people, not most of it, but I have a very, very big following of kids, you know, and I don't really want to. I'm supposed to be the guy who they look up to, so I don't really want to speak about that stuff. 1, 2, I don't do that stuff, so I can't put it in my music, you know. So it's those things, but also because with them, 90% of the time they're speaking about those things, but they don't do it themselves. Yeah, you know. Weird. So it's like you have to be like, it's okay, dude. You don't have to speak about things that you don't know about or things that you think are cool, whatever. Like, I want like put your story in the music, yeah.
How do you find these people? I imagine a lot of people
internet
hit you up all the time, DM, email, Speedsta, check out my song, put it on the show, whatever. Yeah. How do you plow through and find the people that you look for?
I just listen to everything. I listen to everything, you know, and then like if something catches my ear, then I'll respond to them and be like, okay, cool, let's get into the studio, let's work or whatever, yeah. Because I get like a lot. The nice thing is that I get too much stuff, you know. So if I were to be like I'm running out of artists, I'd be lying, you know. I'd literally, it means I must go back into my emails and just open it. Yeah. But everything on the internet. That's how I find it. Yeah.
Let's talk about the industry. From last year, there's been conversations about how hip hop needs some sort of awakening, some sort of rebirth, some sort of restructuring in terms of, I mean, 2018 versus 2014, when hip hop was still kind of that new thing and we're all kicking it, was dope. But now it's like, okay, what is happening? There's a little bit of a concern about the growth of hip hop as a culture, like not the genre, of course, hip hop will live forever, but I mean us as a people and a community, something is not right. I mean, what is your perspective on what I'm saying? Am I wrong? Am I right? What are your feelings about these conversations?
I think we need to like we need to come together, because those golden years you speak of, I think those guys, because they were OGs, they were really together, you know. So I think it was more thing like, we've been in the game for so long, let's make sure we stick together, support each other, etc. So we definitely, number one, like we have to have that, you know. I always try to, especially now, I'm really enjoying these studio sessions, because with my collabs, I'm all over, you know. You can't expect like the same collabs, so I'm getting 4 or 5 different people from different spaces. They probably don't even know of each other, whatever, into one room, you know. And then you can chat or whatever, and from there, hopefully that can grow into a relationship where when the person is dropping a single, now they become friends, they can be like, you can post a single, you can whatever. So I think firstly, we need to support each other. And then I personally feel like because hip hop is always being robbed by big brands and so forth, they don't contribute and they're supposed to help us. So instead of taking cool rap phrases and using them like Nando's always says cool shit, whatever. Where do you hear that cool shit? From the hip hop people. So instead of doing that, why don't you actually try and find a way to get that hip hop song or hip hop into your campaigns? You know, because we need, if anything, we need that, you know. So brands out there, they really need to help us, because at the end of the day, it's South Africa. So of course Gom is going to connect more, of course Kwaito is going to connect more, because that is our authentic sound. At the end of the day, it's about the greater South Africa, and those are things that you learn excuse me, things that you learn. Like now I'm on an SABC 1, you know, now I understand that, like, oh, so when we're chilling there at Sumo thinking we're cool, those 200 people that you're cool amongst are actually not even a minority of what's actually going on out there, you know. So it's a thing of connecting, which the music is maybe not connecting with the greater South Africa and so forth. And that's why I say, if companies and corporates and stuff can stop stealing our shit and actually use it, it's gonna spread. It'll be like a marketing.
Yeah.
It's a way of marketing. Yeah, I think those are the two most important things that we need. But the most important thing is all the motherfucking DJs gotta bang the shit. I had another. It wasn't a rant. I was. Some people maybe thought I was taking shots at people, whatever. But I tweeted the other day and I said I blame DJs for like the stagnant space we're going through, because 98% of the DJs, if you ask them what do you play, they say I play hip hop and house. They say, okay, so like where are the hip hop DJs? Where are the actual hip hop DJs? Because now when they get to festivals and you're a hip hop DJ like me, people are staring at me because I'm playing hip hop. They want Gom, because most of the DJs are either going to play a bit of hip hop and mostly Gom, and they said, so the DJs got to play the music. And when I say that, when you're a DJ, especially when you're on the come up, you playing all the hits at 9 p.m. doesn't help anything, you know what I mean? Because you probably have like your own crew from high school, whatever. So as a DJ, you must come and play it. So you're gonna be like, what's that? You know what I mean? Then try spread the music like that. So.
Do you think that has anything to do with like DJs doing it for the perception of a DJ's life? So,
yeah.
I mean, back in the day, DJs were the people really steering the culture.
Yeah.
Now it's like, you know, DJs are not at the forefront of the conversation as such, whereas they should be. I've seen also, though, on the other, side of the conversation, someone like DJ Zandy is always complaining that artists don't really release,
material
I don't know if I can say
play.
mixable tracks.
Mixable
so
songs,
I mean, at what level do you draw the line between playing that track on the album that you think everybody should hear versus, this is what people want to hear in the club? I mean, where are we with that?
I mean, it's a you as the person must decide on that, because I'll give you an example. If we go back to those golden years of hip hop, in 2 years there was a Nasty C that was born, a Casper Nyovest that was born, a MT that was born, a Ricky Rick that was born. There was a Cash Time Live that was suddenly born. All of these things literally happened in a space of 2 years. And I think now it's been 6 years and there has been a lot of new artists, but there hasn't been like a lot of new artists who have gone on to become number one or gone on to whatever, because the game like kind of fucked up the kids in the sense of like, the kids have their own idea of what it's supposed to be like, right? And I know a lot of kids always tell us, don't say that. A lot of kids when they tell me, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna take this guy out, and I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Even if taking it back to the DJ conversation, if you think about it, the last time they were like, there was Dimples, Milkshake, whatever, and Naked DJ and all of them. Then the next phase was myself, Capital, Major League, Fanatic, You could say PH was on the come up with us then as well. But if you think about it, like people always ask me, so who's after you? Fine, you're a DJ of the year. Who's next? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know who's next because none of the DJs have their sound. Like me as a DJ, I have my sound. None of the DJs know what they actually want. For most of the guys, it's like a cool thing. So it's like, let's go DJ because it's cool, whatever. So you find yourself in a situation where there's 100 million DJs doing the same thing. That's why it's difficult for them to break out. What was the question again?
Yeah. Well, DJ's responsibility. I want to come back to that. I think there's also like so many factors that contribute to that, including the media conversation. Now we get into the media conversation where the media refuses to get out of its traditional ways of doing things. And in 2019, the conversation is huge about the fact that, you know what, as an artist, you don't need radio anymore.
You don't.
Is that true?
It is very true. You don't need radio. It would be nice to be on radio. It is nice, of course, because it can help you go further. But you don't necessarily need it. Like it shouldn't distract you or make you feel like, I'm not on the radio, let me stop making music, kind of a vibe, you know. I mean, a perfect example is Youngster, you know. Youngster's music is not on the radio. Well, it is now on the radio, but even then it's only on Good Hope and the Cape Town radio stations. It's still not picked up across around the world. But I mean, I saw him posting on his Instagram that Yas's video is about to hit 1 million views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like that goes to show you that the internet is really, really, really powerful. So it's really, really dope that all the kids are living out there. But the only problem with the South African kids is that they all sound the same. They're all doing the same. So now you don't know who's who and what's what, you know. So I think for radio, the most difficult thing for them has been like, okay, but these kids sound the same. Which one is the one? Like which song is the radio song? You know what I mean? So.
But yeah. I mean, coming back to your conversation of realizing that there's more to an audience than the people in Sumo and the people that like my Instagram posts. I mean, Instagram is like the 4th most used network in South Africa. So I mean, how do I reach those people in Malamulele, Qwaqwa, you know, all those other places?
You see, I always say like start where you are. So like make the music and make the music with whoever you have around you and start your movements with the people that you have around you. Like what I used to do is I didn't have much resources. I couldn't be in Joburg, so what I would do is just see what I had, and we would throw like house parties. What do the house parties do? Then people in Joburg start to realize like, oh damn, that kid is killing. Like I remember the first time I made Capital, you know, he knew me because I was doing like really dope gigs in the Vaal, and he was like, yo, I'm on the camp as well, I throw gigs. You should invite me, I should invite you, you know? So once you start doing that wherever you are, small little movements. So for instance, let's say Oko Qwaqwa and I'm in Claxton, but we're both starting movements wherever we are. We see it because you follow everything, you know, and it becomes easier to be like, okay, cool. Again, you come here, I come here. At that stage of the game, you know, there's no money involved. Well, there is a little bit of money, but there's not much money involved. But just that spreading of you come to my show, I come to your show, and you keep doing that. Like that's how you eventually grow like new databases. And then like the guy from Qwaqwa, you from Claxton, let's collaborate. Now we collaborate, you know, your fan base, my fan base together. You growing a new fan base, I'm growing. I think that's how you should move. But one thing I will tell you, I'm a screw, you know, as they always say, but there's a lot more than to what you guys actually see. This is at the end of the day, this is South Africa, you know. And I'm learning this, you know. I'm learning this because I find it the weirdest thing ever. Probably like your top, I don't say top 20, but like a lot of your big hip-hop artists can walk in Khayelitsha right now and nobody will even know like who they are, you know what I mean? So it's important to also not forget about those people and try and connect with them because that is South Africa. We live a privileged life. We're in Ilovo, baby, you know, but we had to work to get to Ilovo, you know what I mean? But there's a kid in the hood who's trying to figure it out. But when you're speaking about monies and mollies and screw, he doesn't know what you're talking about. So what does he do? He goes and listens to a Gom song because he can relate and hear exactly what they're saying.
And it feels accessible to them.
It feels accessible, yeah. They can relate, they connect to the music, yeah.
Broadcast live